The Levan versus Devon first round blew everyone away. Levan, the crowd, and even Devon himself couldn't believe how he managed to halt Levan dead in the center. No one had ever come close to bending Levan's wrist like that, especially right from the get-go. So, here's what might have gone down. First off, maybe Levan was just playing cool, setting up a fake scenario. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Levan applied some side pressure, but it ended up putting a strain on his own wrist. Devon's pronation game was on point, overshadowing Levan's cupping strength. Levan kind of let him get a good grip intentionally, because it couldn't get a decent hold on Devon's hand anyway. So he sacrificed his wrist to put more force into pressing. If you look closely, Devon's arm structure held up against Levan's press until the refs called a foul on Devon for angling his humerus wrong. Devon's arm buckling in the center says a lot about Levan's strength in this department. Now, Levan's arm is definitely beefier than Devon's, so how did Devon manage to hold him in the center? Well, Devon always shifts the focus to wrist strength where he's got the upper hand. Levan's no dummy, though. He made the match about arm strength, where he's untouchable. Devon's pronation game isn't just about his thumb and knuckle. He's got some serious finger containment action going on. He covered a ton of real estate on Levan's hand, giving him a superior reach, gripping high and deep at the same time. But then, Devon's riser game faltered. In the first round, Levan was worried his wrist wouldn't hold up, so he didn't go all out on the riser. And from there, you could tell he couldn't outmaneuver Devon with a top roll. When it comes to countering the king's move, pressing is king. I'm honestly surprised Devon's tendon didn't snap from being pressed by a 400-pound guy. That smooth press transition killed Devon. He knew at this moment he was fucked. No other options in the all-super match than getting fouls with queen moves. Levan is not the Everest for Devon. He could still walk at the top then. Levan is the sky, and Devon can only admire the view from the ground. Levan won because he was too strong everywhere. But in this round, he did pull back immediately and fast and tried to go for a pin once. But he too was shaking a bit, and Devon controlled his hand a bit there near the center table, which is super impressive. When the translator revealed that Levan is training press, I knew that if he gets even half decent at it, Devon stands no chance. And indeed, Devon's bicep got annihilated with that press. In order to counter press, you need somewhat similar side pressure. Devon doesn't have it. Hermes doesn't have it. Lalatin and Kurdisha both have impressive side pressure, so they are the last hope. Also, Morozov being a hooker should be comfortable at dealing with press. Dennis plays defense. If Devon did the same, he'd tire himself out trying to maintain a stalemate. That's why he went all in on the offensive from the get-go. Levan's got a significant strength advantage when it comes to offense, so it's smarter to start with defense and wear him out. Devon's arm power is just enough for pronation, not much beyond that. Body weight only matters if it matches up with body strength. Devon needs not just body weight, but a lot more muscle to take on Levan. And sadly, that doesn't seem likely at his age. Devon's been neglecting his arm for years. Heck, almost everything except his hand lately. If he started doing some basic compound lifts, he'd probably see some serious gains. Nothing too intense, just whatever his body can handle safely at this point. He's on a whole cocktail of supplements, and we saw he can pack on weight for matches like the one with MA, even if it messes with his stomach. And with newbie gains from compound lifts, it'd be even easier. He'd probably surpass the Michael Todd Pancake Devon without breaking a sweat, even if he ate slightly less than he did for Todd. Can't blame the guy for not wanting to push himself too hard at his age, but it's kind of funny how he says, "I've done everything possible and gaining weight is just impossible for me," while avoiding compound exercises and admitting he doesn't eat much anymore. Devon's problem is he's a Brachantist at heart, basing his training on whatever random idea he's fixated on at the moment. He's had all sorts of quirky philosophies. Side pressure isn't needed. Grip doesn't matter. Biceps are crucial. Biceps aren't important. Only train cupping for months. Train only one arm. You name it. Right now, he's all about the rise, cup, roll phase, completely ignoring bicep training. Meanwhile, Levan's been sticking to a basic bro split for 13 years without changing a thing. Devon's been boasting about his health and strength gains, showing consistent progress in so being old and broken isn't the issue here. And like I said, Devon's always tinkering with his training methods. It wouldn't be surprising if he starts focusing more on biceps after this. Compare that to the Georgians, who've stuck to the same weight training routine for decades. Devon's got a solid foundation, which allows him to train the way he does. It's why he's been able to stay in the game this long. Now, it's pretty obvious that he's beaten guys who train like Levan, but Levan's just on another level of strength. Will lifting 80 GD on back pressure help? Sure, but can he do it? And that's where Devon finds a workaround, assuming. You could draw parallels with John versus Irakli. Irakli got some serious back pressure lifts that challenged Levan, but he lost to a guy who claims he doesn't lift weights at all. Is it a perfect comparison? No, but it supports the argument for selective training methods. There's always a trade-off. How much does Devon need to train other areas to beat Levan at 50? Levan's younger, bigger, and stronger with a growth rate way faster than Devon's is. Speculate all you want, but Devon ain't beating Levan, especially with Levan's press in the mix. Maybe if Devon were 30. The match with Hermes made it clear that hand control was key. Devon's already top tier in every aspect of the sport and has been getting stronger for the past 2 years. But the problem is, Levan's just superior in every way. No matter how much Devon trains, genetics is a tough nut to crack. Sure, you could argue that he should have started certain things earlier in his career, but his strengths are usually enough to take down almost anyone except Levan. But when it comes to preparing for matches against Levan, it wouldn't have made a difference. There's nothing Devon could have done to match Levan's strength or even get close enough for it to matter. The plan he went in with was probably the best, but Levan outsmarted him, and he's just too strong overall. Devon definitely trained seriously for it, and that's why he stopped Levan in the first round. You could see Devon losing center once Levan transitioned, but it was Devon's back pressure that kept his arm up and put Levan's hand in jeopardy. But once Levan unleashed his press, Devon's back pressure couldn't hold up anymore, and he couldn't muster the same force in the following rounds. Levan proved he has a stupid high-table IQ, can fight back pressure with back pressure and tire his opponents, can press at 400 pounds and has the strongest side pressure the entire world has ever seen. He is the best and the strongest arm wrestler in the entire planet. Deal with it and stop scoping.